The government will pump 167 billion US dollars into economic innovation, with more than half of the funds going toward future growth industries. The government has announced a temporary standstill order for all poultry and workers at poultry farms to clamp down on a spreading strain of bird flu. And the Honam Express Railway will open in March after nearly 6 years of construction, taking passengers from Seoul to Gwangju in just an hour and a half. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Friday, January 16th. I'm Luke Claring. The government has unveiled plans to make available funds of more than 167 billion US dollars to drive economic innovation. More than half of the government funding, over $93 billion, will go toward future growth industries.
This small business makes satellite communication antennas for ships. It received over $6 million US dollars in long-term low-interest loans from the Korea Development Bank 6 years ago. The company used that money to develop new technologies and expand its facilities. Last year, the 10th year since its founding, the company exported more than $46 million.
상한 압력이라든지 이런 것들하고 상관없이 차근히 장기적인 안목을 가지고 기술 개발을 할 수 있어서 상당히 도움이 많이 됩니다.
In a meeting with the president, the government announced that 4 major nationalized financial institutions would subsidize more than $167 billion to drive a dynamic and innovative economy. The 4 institutions are the Korea Development Bank, the Industrial Bank of Korea, the Korea Credit Guarantee Fund, and the Korea Technology Finance Corporation. Over $93 billion of the earmarked fund will go to subsidize future growth industries such as intelligent robots, smart cars, and fintech projects.
훌륭한 기술과 아이디어를 가지신 분들이 창업부터 시작해서 마지막까지 성공하는 데까지 충분한 자금이 지원될 것으로 기대하고 있습니다.
Also, 17 creative economy centers will be built within this year to aid the commercialization of good business ideas. Solid businesses will also be freed from all joint liability obligations. This way, a new environment for startups will be built to enable even bankrupted businesses to start again.
The highly pathogenic avian influenza that hit Muan, South Jeolla Province on January 7th has spread to Busan, Gyeonggi, and South Gyeongsang provinces. The government has issued a temporary standstill order for all poultry in the nation and workers at poultry farms for this coming weekend.
A suspected case of AI has been reported at this duck farm. People and vehicles are banned from entering within a 500-meter radius from the farm, while shipping of some 520,000 birds raised on the farms within a 10-kilometer radius has also been prohibited.
우리 농장만 안 걸리면은 되는데 그게 아니고 이웃에서 걸리기 오면은 5km 안에는 살처분 되니까 그게 제일 걱정이에요, 우리가.
Highly pathogenic avian influenza has hit 4 farms in South Jeolla Province, Busan, and Gyeonggi Province this year alone. Authorities are also closely examining farms in Gosong. As the bird flu virus continues to spread across the nation, the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs has issued a temporary standstill order for all the poultry farms in the nation for 2 days starting tomorrow. It's the first standstill order to be issued for the entire country.
AI를 확산시킬 가능성이 있는 사람, 차량 등의 이동을 제한한 상태에서 강력한 소독과 방역을 실시하기 위한 것입니다.
Over the past year, some 14 million chickens and ducks have been culled, resulting in nearly $140 million US dollars in losses, but the virus is showing no signs of abating.
The Honam Express Railway will open in March after nearly 6 years of construction. The Honam KTX line will take passengers from Seoul to Gwangju in just an hour and a half and improve Jeolla Province residents' access to the Seoul metropolitan area.
The pilot run is in full swing ahead of the opening of the Honam high-speed railway. The project cost about $7.8 billion US dollars and took 6 years to complete. The 182-kilometer segment that's scheduled to open in March connects Osong Station and Songjang Station in Gwangju. The express train will stop only at Gongju, Iksan, and Cheongup. The new Honam KTX line will be able to take passengers from Yongsan Station in Seoul to Gwangju in just 1 hour and 33 minutes, an hour and 6 minutes shorter than the existing Honam Railway.
그야말로 전국이 반나절 생활권에 전부 진입하게 됩니다. 우리의 생활 패턴을 완전히 바꾸게 되는 그런 계기가 되겠습니다.
The trains will be equipped with new, upgraded carriages. The legroom between the seats increased 6 centimeters, individual power outlets have been installed, and noise has been reduced. Nevertheless, there are still a few problems that need to be addressed. Gongju Station, built outside the city, needs a connecting transport network, and a plan must be devised for the new KTX line to stop in Daejeon as well. Also, rail authorities must soon decide on the route for the Honam Express Railway's second segment from Songjang Station in Gwangju to Mokpo.
It's been almost 2 weeks since the Korean government raised cigarette prices. Duty-free shops on Jeju Island are packed with customers now because they're selling cigarettes for less than half of the market price.
Some 30 customers stand in a line stretching 20 meters in front of a cigarette store in the airport's duty-free section. They include young, middle-aged, and elderly people. This has been happening every day for 2 weeks since cigarette prices were raised in Korea. A carton of Korean-made cigarettes that costs over $41 in other stores is available here for less than half the price at just $17. The store sales have tripled compared with the same period last year as consumers rush to buy cigarettes not only for themselves but also as gifts or at the request of their acquaintances.
제가 직접 담배는 피지는 않지만은 요즘 담배값이 워낙 비싸서 아는 분 선물용으로 한 보를 사게 됐습니다.
The situation is the same at duty-free shops for domestic customers in Seogwipo City.
일정 가격의 한 70-80%가 이제 구매로 이어진다고 보시면 됩니다.
The government announced plans to raise the prices of cigarettes sold at duty-free shops as well, but it has yet to determine the exact time and scope. In the meantime, duty-free shops will likely continue to enjoy the boon.
A meeting took place on Thursday to decide whether to keep the 29-year-old Walsung No. 1 nuclear reactor in operation, but the meeting participants failed to reach a conclusion. And since the two opposing sides are deadlocked, it may take some time before a final decision can be made.
The Walsung 1 nuclear reactor was designed to last 30 years. Now that the time limit is up, it must be decided whether the reactor should continue to operate or shut down. The Nuclear Safety and Security Commission spent all day Thursday to discuss the issue, but failed to reach a conclusion. The two opposing sides were particularly deadlocked over the safety issues. The proponents of the operation extension backed up their argument with the Commission's inspection results, which found no technical problems with the aging nuclear reactor.
어차피 나라의 자원이기 때문에 최대한을 활용을 하고 안전하게 실효로 활용하는 게 이제 저희 입장이니까 재가동을 하는 게 사실 목표이긴 하죠.
But some commission members were against the extension, claiming that it would be difficult to run the reactor without first addressing 32 safety issues. If the reactor is kept in operation, there will be an enormous age-related cost to bear just to generate less than 1% of the country's total power output. However, even if the reactor's closure is decided, authorities do not yet have the technology or funds for its safe disposal. The fate of the Walsung 1 nuclear reactor will again be up for debate next month. However, whether it's decided to continue operating the reactor or shut it down, challenges will accompany the final decision.
Heat-generating undergarments are in high demand these days, but not all long underwear is created equal. Here's a look.
The Seoul YWCA has analyzed the effectiveness of 10 heat-generating undergarment items sold in stores. The results revealed that when thermal clothes do generate heat, their temperature is about 1.8 degrees higher than that of regular clothing. However, thermal clothes require certain conditions to generate heat. What's more, different brands require different conditions. Clothing that generates heat by absorbing moisture only works when the person wearing it perspires. And most of the radiant heat reflective clothing, which generates heat when the fabric absorbs light, start working only after a prolonged exposure to strong light.
활동성이 적은 사람에게는 발열 효과가 미미하거나 나타나지 않을 수 있으므로 개인의 활동성 등 개별적 특성을 고려하여 구입하는 것이
The Seoul YWCA is urging authorities to set standards for evaluating and testing the performance of thermal undergarments, which are available in great variety these days.
Many alleyways that seem to have been plucked from a scene in history can be found in the heart of Seoul in Jongno District. But how far back do they really go? We find the answer at a redevelopment site in Seoul.
This painting by the famed Joseon-era painter Shin Yun-bok depicts a scuffle taking place at a courtesan house. In the rear of the picture, behind the people, is a side street typical of its day. Then how did alleyways look like during the Joseon dynasty? A straight road is clearly seen laid between building lots. With a width of some 3 meters, a wagon or cart could have passed through. This alleyway, built in the Joseon dynasty, was used throughout the Japanese colonial era and even up until recently before it underwent redevelopment. Houses were densely clustered on the sides of the alley. People of different social classes lived side by side. Spacious residences of high officials were situated next to the poor laymen's homes that were no bigger than a single cell.
이 남쪽으로는 그 시전 행랑이 펼쳐진 그러한 곳인데 그 중요한 관청이나 궁궐터 사이에 자리 잡은 그러한 그 거주구역이 되겠습니다.
The redevelopment site has also unveiled a number of relics, such as wooden floors from burnt homes and pieces of white porcelain and roof tiles. The findings offer a glimpse into daily life in urban alleyways in 16th century Korea.
Dozens of agency-manufactured girl groups debut in Korea each year, but few of them make it big. One such unknown girl group has seen a surge in popularity thanks to a video recorded by a fan. This and much more in our Entertainment News Roundup.
Up and Down by the up-and-coming idol girl group EXID recently topped the rankings on the Music Bank program on KBS. The song didn't gain much traction when it was first released last August, but popularity soared after a video clip of the group's performance recorded by a fan late last year began to generate buzz, topping over 5 million viewer hits. It's a distinct example of how pop music groups need luck as well as talent to succeed in the industry. The song Deja Vu by boy band SHINee member Jonghyun took the top spot in the weekly rankings of the official Gaon music chart. Idol group members are making successful transitions to solo careers since Kyuhyun of the band Super Junior made a successful solo debut. KBS has officially kicked off its web drama service with a new portal dedicated to web drama series. The portal is servicing 9 series for now, including Tale of the Bookworm, the very first web drama produced by a terrestrial broadcaster in the country. KBS will seek to provide a wider range of web drama productions through collaboration with small and mid-sized content providers.
The implementation of the new Telecom Act has caused significant confusion, and many people are still not sure if it's okay to buy a new phone now because there's still so much to check before making a decision. Well, here's how to choose the right phone. Shortly after the release of the iPhone 6, the so-called iPhone commotion occurred over illegal mobile service subsidies. The scandal ended with apologies from mobile carriers, but since the new Telecom Act took effect, it's become more difficult for consumers to choose mobile phones.
소비자 부담을 줄여주려고 만든 것 같은데 오히려 더 비싸죠.
지원을 안 해주는데 너무 비싸게 받아요.
Here's how to choose the right phone for yourself. For homemakers and middle-aged people who don't use smartphones much and don't mind whether or not they have the latest model, experts recommend buying older models.
출시된 지 1년여 정도 지난 제품의 경우에는 출고가가 많이 내려가게 됩니다. 예를 들어 갤럭시 S4 모델의 경우에는 출시 당시에 90만 원대였던 출고가가 지금 현재 60만 원대로 형성이 되어 있고
If you want one of the latest models for a cheap price, you should consider buying a phone from an overseas shopping site. But this requires extra caution, as sometimes consumers have a hard time getting refunds and after-sales service from overseas sellers.
아이폰 같은 경우에도 부품 수급이 원활하지 않을 경우에는 AS를 국내에서 받기 어려운 경우들이 있기 때문에 이런 부분들을 좀 충분히 고려해서
Middle-aged people and seniors who don't use phones much can choose from the so-called thrifty models. The basic fare for such phones ranges from 0 cents to $1 or $3 a month.
현재 사용하고 있거나 보관 중인 휴대폰을 가지고 알뜰폰 요금제에 가입한 후 유심치만 교체하시면 알뜰폰으로 사용하실 수 있습니다.
If you still don't know which phone to buy, try one of the many websites that help users find the right cell phone plan for themselves.
스마트 초이스의 대표적인 서비스로는 자기 자신의 적합한 요금제를 찾아주는 요금제 추천 서비스가 있습니다.
Getting a new mobile phone can be quite a challenge, but if you take the time to consider your needs and obtain the necessary information, you can find a phone that perfectly meets your needs. Now let's take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again on Monday. Goodbye.